don't believe you. I know you're already recording.
All right, Pete, before we get started, put your glasses on so you look smarter, like I just did. And what did you have?
I gotta have that grandfather look down over the top.
And Pete, before we get into this episode, can you tell us what you had for breakfast?
This is just for a mic check, correct?
Yeah, mic check. I just want to make sure your peas aren't popping.
See, this is the idea I have to give to all your detailers. This is what I used to do in financial planning. Like when someone go, oh, here's what my last advisor had me do. I had these fake glasses. They were just glass, right? No magnification at all. And I'd look at it and I'd be like, oh, yeah, I really like what you have right here. It looks really good. Oh, I see what he did there. That's nice, too. But I have a few concerns. You just remove the glasses, do the grandfatherly, but I have a few concerns.
So I wore these glasses. Mine are real because, as I told you, I can't.
These are now readers. Now that I'm over 40, I'm 42. I'm like, dang, dude, what's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah. And so I actually went to a conference in Florida, and I have to wear them at night because it's the light that's a problem for me. Like I can't see when it gets dark. I can't see far.
Dark.
Huh?
They can't see when it gets dark. But
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So, which is kind of a problem, especially if you're driving and it's dark out. But so I took a couple pictures with people at this show, and I had a few people like, I didn't know who that guy with the glasses was, and then I zoomed in, and it was you, but you were totally camouflage. I'm like, perfect. No one's going to recognize me now because, I'm so popular when I go everywhere.
Your Clark Kent glasses?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
It's the glasses. No one gets what I'm talking about. But
I see it.
So anyway, Pete, that if no one understands our little "what'd you have for breakfast" joke, it's because last time I actually got Pete on the show, and I said
it was the first time we'd done a podcast. You're like, yeah, I just need to do a mic check. What'd you have for breakfast? And you're like recording it for the show.
It's one of my favorite things to do because it kind of like throws people off guard, and then they don't. Then they get like super serious all of a sudden, and it kind of like puts them in a completely different mindset, and they're like, well, I had toast with butter and then oatmeal. And I just think it's funny.
I like it.
But I got you. So that was what that joke was about. Anyway, that's not the reason why.
I love it whenever you have to explain a joke. I mean, that's when you know it's a good one.
It just makes the joke 10 times better. My favorite joke is because Heather tells me all the time that my jokes are stupid, and because I recycle them.
Well, I say, why go get a new one? The old one's still working. That's just my own personal opinion.
My personal opinion is I just need a new audience. The joke is still good. I just need to get a new audience. And the problem is I tell her, you're with me too much. So then you hear the joke too much. You know what I mean?
The comedians, right? You don't think they're coming up with a new set every time they get on stage?
No way.
It's a new audience. I like your philosophy.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, stop hanging around me so much. I just need to find a new group of people.
I dig it.
So I feel bad for people that listen to the podcast when they're like, I've been listening since episode 1. I'm like,
ooh,
I'm sorry.
I have a podcast, as you know, and I actually get scared when I meet people and they go, oh, wait, I know who you are. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Like, oh my gosh. My first gut reaction is like, what did I say?
Well, that's the thing is, I've offended at least everybody at some point in the podcast.
Definitely. And you're doing a good job at some point offending some detailers, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, suck it up, Buttercup.
Right? Anyway, the reason why I wanted to bring you back on the podcast was because I missed doing this, and even though we do it twice a month through the detaileninnercircle.com, because it's never too early for a shameless plug.
Never.
But we actually, if you like this banter, we actually do it 2 more times every single month through the Detailer Inner Circle, which I've come to a conclusion, Pete, that, at first I was a little, I don't like being overly salesy, right? And I think it can become a hindrance because I don't want to oversaturate the podcast with just selling, right? But I came to the conclusion that if you feel like you have something that is so valuable to other people, it's not really selling. It's just informing people that you have this thing that could better their life. right?
Yeah, as I like to define sales, sales is just helping people make a decision that's in their best interest.
Right. So I think this podcast, I really wanted to do it again, and the title of this is going to be, how to make 100,000 a year as a detailer, because the more people that write in that are like, hey, I'm a electrician, but my passion is detailing. I do it on the side, I do it on the weekends, but I really want to take it full time. Or I work at a corpo job and I really want to detail full time, or whatever the plan is. Their hesitation to make the jump is they need more money. They need to replace that income. So you and I have some really good ideas on how really an approach that's broken down quite easily on how a detailer can make $100,000 a year detailing, which when mind you, when a lot of these people reach out, they only need to make 50 grand a year to replace their income. So really 100,000 a year would actually not only replace their income from the job that they don't like, it would also give them a lifestyle that is quite different than the one they currently have. So do you have any comments on that or anything?
Yeah, the biggest comment that I'd say is what you just hit on there at the very end. It could give you like a different lifestyle than you're used to. That's probably the biggest hindrance to most people doing it. And what I mean by that is all day long, I train business owners, I train marketers, train detailers. And the number one battle that people have is the mental game. Like there's a mental game that goes on. If you see yourself as someone who makes $30,000 a year, then statistically we know that the most you can see yourself make is 2.5 times what you're currently making. So that's like, I don't know, 80 grand. I can't do the math. 75,000, something like that. You go above that and you might believe that it's possible for somebody to do that, but you don't necessarily believe that you can do that. And you will start to sabotage yourself. And I see myself do this, right? Because I'm used to making a certain amount of money. And then when things start really going good, I just start like, I sabotage. I stop working. I stop doing as much. And I'll give you a really good example of this in my own life. And this is important for everyone to understand. Like this can happen because making 100 grand in detailing is not difficult. Like it's flat out.
It's not. It's more than doable.
Right. And relatively quickly.
Right.
Like it's not like you need years of experience or anything like that. So years ago, I got started in sales as a financial planner. So years ago, I was helping out this client. It was a really, really big transaction that I was doing for him. And the one deal generated $170,000 in commission.
To you.
Which I don't care by anybody's standards. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I got 130,000 of it literally it was broken up over 2 wire transfers because like they can't do a wire transfer over 100,000. So it was like $99,950. And then the rest of it was on a second, but both of them came through at the same time, same day.
That's a lot of money.
It was right. And then like the rest of the year, I got paid the other 30,000 in bonuses and stuff like that were given out later. But the second that money came in, I knew I wasn't going to work anymore. Like I just shut down mentally and quit doing everything because it was like I saw myself at that time in my life, someone who made, 125,000, something like that. And when all of a sudden you make that in one day, it's like, well, then I'm done, right? I hit my number. And that can happen to you in detailing as well. If you see yourself as someone who only makes 40, 50,000, the biggest battle you're going to have is getting past that and pushing on to making the 100,000.
Sorry, Pete. As I mentioned, I'm recording this somewhere else, and the kids just showed up. But that's so how. And
what I really like is that this is going to be a video podcast.
That was horrible.
And that was what going on. Jimbo's not even listening to Pete. He's already.
I am listening to Pete, and I have a really good follow-up question. What did you do, or what were some tips that helped you overcome that mindset then of like it is possible to make more than 3 times the amount of money that you're making now?
So for me, what I have to do is I focus on the action or what I'm supposed to do, my actions. I don't focus on the money. And if you focus purely on what you know you need to do, so I need to send a text message out, I need to send a slide broadcast out, I need to go get, another client, I need to go, like, if I'm focusing on that and not focusing on the money, that's what pushed me past it. Because as a side note, even though I made all of that money all at once, I literally spent all of it over the course of like a year and some change, until I was at zero again. And then it was like, okay, now I got to go work, because that just mentally I had shut down. So now I've learned, don't focus on the money at all. Just focus on the activity, focus on your actions.
So do you, okay. So, and then in regards to this podcast, then they're setting maybe a monetary goal, but do they need to break down how they're going to get to that goal? So they need X amount of clients. So let's kind of get into that.
I did it real quick.
Okay, let's do it.
I was looking at my phone. I'm like, oh man, what were the numbers again? Because I don't remember the last time we figured it out.
I'm glad someone's paying attention here, Pete.
I know, right?
I'm doing
so I was
best.
like,
They're
okay,
gone, so we're good.
100,000 divided by 12. Obviously, that's $8,333 a month is what you got to bring in if you want to hit that $100,000 goal. And then I was like, okay. And I couldn't remember what we had priced the continuity packages at.
Right.
But I thought it was like around 110 or something.
It was, because I figured, I looked at my average ticket sale, and my average ticket sale fell between that $100 and $150 range. And also, I think it's an easy dollar amount to sell a client on, right? It's not, when you get up into the $300, $500, $1,000, at least for detailing, and we talked about this in the Detailer Inner Circle on one of the calls, but at least for detailing.
DetailerInnerCircle.com, DetailerInnerCircle.com.
But if you really want to land like a high majority of your leads, right? I found that if you're in that $100 to $150 range, you can really land a high percentage of them. So I think most people starting out or that need work that's kind of how we got to that number, was that it was an easy number to sell people on.
Right. So like if you started up a continuity plan, and a continuity plan is gym membership, right?
Right.
Someone pays every month. And I think what we talked about at the Detailer Marketing Bootcamp, which by the way, we're going to be redoing again, but this time as a live stream.
Which is going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be cool, because then we can have people from literally all over the world come on, check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had people who bought tickets from Australia, and then they're like, I can't make it. I'm like, no kidding. That's like freaking $3,000 to fly out here.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot.
Right.
So, but like if you have a monthly continuity of 110 a month, and I think what we did for that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because you'll remember the services a lot more than me, but it was like a wash and a wax, and then a maintenance wash.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And those were the two things that you're delivering to people every month.
And then I think it was a free full detail once a year or something like that.
Yeah. Once they were on for a year, you get detail. And part of the reason for that, for those of you who are like, why would I do a full detail for free? Because if you've been taking care of that car for the last 12 months, there's not a lot you got to do.
No, because you could literally space it out and that's the benefit of the continuity program and seeing that car twice a month, is that if the driver's side seat is looking dirty, that's a simple process to shampoo real quick.
Right.
You're basically spreading that full detail out the whole year.
Right.
Just telling the client you're giving them, anyway. I'm trying to make it and break it down as practical as possible, because we get so many questions about like how it actually plays out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
I mean, that's basically 76 clients a month to hit. And that's really just not that difficult to hit. There's so many different ways to get clients. Like,
that's 3 clients a day, by the way. So if you need 76 clients a month, correct?
Yeah.
So if you divided that by 25 days, figure you work 5 days a week, that's 3.04 clients a day. We're recording a video. And so think about it. That's either 3 car washes or 3 wash and waxes, which on average will take, let's say, maximum 2 hours each. like max. That's maybe with drive time, with everything. So we're looking at 6 hours a day. Like max, I can pump out a wash and a wax in about an hour.
Yeah. And there's still obviously other products and services that they can provide to people. And
right. But we're talking like about the base. This is like,
yeah,
if you're just looking to transition into full-time detailing.
But see, now imagine going full-time, but you've got a continuity base. Let's say you're half that good. And in your first, 3 months of being part-time, you only got 30 people a month to do that. That's still, I can't do all the math on that, but that's still over $3,000 a month.
Well, let's do it. You got 30 people times
110,
$3,300.
$3,300.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, do I make that transition? Do I just go, look, I'm going to go ahead and go full time?
Because that gets you to about $40,000 a year, 39.6.
Yeah. So it makes, first of all, continuity is the way to go just in life. Think about your paycheck. Your paycheck is a continuity plan.
It is.
For the most part, every 2 weeks or twice a month, whatever it is, you're getting X amount of dollars. And you're not fulfilled in what you're doing. I mean, no one is when they have a job.
Right.
But it's like, okay, I got this money coming in. And because I have this money coming in, that means I can afford to live here. I can afford to drive this. And so what we do is we take all of our dreams and our goals in our life and we shrink it down to fit our income.
Right.
And I understand that. Eventually, where we're going to get you to is where you go, no, this is what I want. What's the income I got to acquire to achieve that goal? Where I want to live, what I want to drive, all that type of stuff. Which, by the way, I got to tell you real quickly, my car story. So as you know, I got the Dodge Charger. Right.
Yeah. I always get confused too.
Yeah. It's the Charger. It's the 4-door because I got 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Now, some people would say it's not a family car. I beg to differ.
Car seats fit in it.
That's right. 2 of them, in fact.
And boosters even give you more room. So you're on the way up.
And I love this thing, right? I mean, it's awesome. So we went to Lake Las Vegas on vacation, as you know, because we did the Detailer Inner Circle podcast from there. And by the way, great gas mileage on the open freeway. Horrible.
Really?
Yeah, dude. It's awesome.
Wow.
I mean, I had a Mustang before, so it's not like I had a high bar.
Does it shift down? Yeah, right.
Yeah. It goes down to 4 cylinders.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those. And you don't feel it. And then when you need to just burn past someone,
it's there.
It does, man. It just, you want 8 cylinders, apparently. No problem. And you're just toasting them on the freeway.
That's awesome.
So anyway, my wife is like, so I got to work. And my daughter, she's 3, so she still naps. And I'm like, look, I'll stay at the condo that we rented, and I'll watch my daughter. You go ahead and go shopping because I hate going to the mall. Like it's like nails on a chalkboard.
I literally I don't know if this happens to you when you go shopping. I get sick. Like I don't know what.
I don't go shopping, so maybe I would.
Oh my gosh! I even had to go shopping for myself. Like I needed some shorts or something, and I was like, "Oh, I'll go to Nordstrom's Rack because I think they get." I'm like you, Pete. It's like if I can't get a deal, it's not happening, right? So I'm like, okay, I think I could get like half off, whatever.
I'm an Amazon.com guy when it comes pretty much my whole wardrobe except for my suits. But yeah.
And I went there and I left. I think I was there like 25 minutes. I think I had the flu when I left. It was unreal. I don't know if this is the lighting or like what happened, but I hate it. I hate shopping. Anyway.
So my wife takes my car and she goes to the mall and she comes back and at some point on the we were getting out of the car and I got out and it's like by the end of the trip, it was literally 118 degrees outside. Oh. I'm a redhead. I can't stand the sun to begin with. So I'm like beelining it for any kind of
shade.
Shade doesn't really help that much at that kind of heat. It's like, where's an indoor place that has AC running right now that I can run to?
Right.
And so at some point that happened. And then I went back to my car later with the family when we were leaving wherever we were and the doors weren't locked. And I was like, why didn't you lock the doors to the car? She's like, what do you mean? It's on your fob thing, whatever the car fob. I'm like, I never lock it with that. It's got a little button right on the handle. You hit the button, it locks the doors. And she goes, "Oh, well, I've never locked your doors." I'm like, "Why the heck are you taking my freaking baby car here and you're not even locking the doors?" I was just like,
That's a great reason to never let her drive the car.
dude, right? I'm like, I cannot believe you just. And then like the whole rest of the trip, I'm like, seriously, you didn't lock the door again? Lock the freaking door. I just couldn't believe it, man.
Whenever Heather drives my truck, because I have a lot of crap inside the car because I got like paperwork or I'm bringing a camera or whatever, right? So I got a lot of junk. And then I also have like I'm a little anal when it comes to like the cleanliness inside my car. So I have a double mat on my floor mat, but then I also put a microfiber towel on top of that, like right at the entryway where like the plastic is, because I have a truck, so I have to step right there to get into the truck.
Sure.
So I have like a towel there, and I'm very OCD about the inside of my truck. Well, Heather drives it sometimes, and I get it back, and I'm like, what do you do like while you're driving that like the towel there is like freaking over the passenger side headrest, the floor mat's all messed up, all my stuff inside, it looks like a tornado went through it. And I'm like, you literally drove to the store and came back. Like, what happened?
See, like, if you could see my desk, it's a wreck, right? Crap everywhere.
I can almost see it in the reflection in the glass behind you, but not quite.
Wait. What about the reflections now? No. So,
let me tell you, Pete.
Yeah. So my car though, I'm anal about it. Like it's got to be clean all the time. My wife, whenever she's even in the passenger side, you know the little pocket things on the side of your doors. She's always
those
like,
are not trash cans.
Putting little wrappers. I'm like, dude, seriously, take that crap out of my car and throw it away.
I know. Anyway,
sorry.
Good thing our wives never listen to this.
Back to making $100,000 a year. That was a little detour.
A little detour. Squirrel. But I mean, when you start, and what's cool about having the continuity program now that that wasn't available before when we were first talking about it is that Square, so the card reader, actually they just released the ability to have reoccurring payments, because that was a big question that came up before is like, great, this sounds good. I have clients that are willing to do it. How do I receive payment at the first of every month? And it was always kind of like, well, you could like keep their card on file. It was kind of wonky, right? It wasn't very smooth. But now Square has where you can set automatic payments. If they don't want automatic payments, they have an ability to store cards on file even, so you can go in there manually and run them.
Oh, really?
It's so Square, I mean, I've been a big fan of Square for a long time, but they have a free calendar now for one user. I mean, they just have like, it totally plays in with our continuity program to make it really seamless. And that's another thing too, is that it fills your calendar, it gives you money in the bank before the month begins, and so and then there's a credit card processing program to make it really, really simple. You know?
Yeah. And see, one of the things too that we even talked about, some people can do this and they'd be all right with it. Excuse me, they'd be all right with it. And that is, you can, pre-charge people. Hey, because there's a lot of people who go, look, instead of paying you $110 a month, can I just pay you, $1,200, whatever it is, the whole year?
Right.
And you can do that. One of the problems though with that, for most detailers, they will spend the $1,200.
Right.
And now the rest of the year, they're like getting pissed because they got to go actually service the car. And I don't blame you, right? It's one of the reasons that I prefer people to pay me monthly as opposed to annually. Like I had this one client, I charged them $4,000 a month for the stuff that I do for them. And they were like, oh, we need to write it off on our taxes. Can we just write you $48,000 this year to cover next year? And I'm like, no. Because
you're like,
it'll be done by like the 15th day in January, and I'll be ticked the rest of the year, and I still got to work for you.
It's like, that's one reason why I hate gift cards. Same idea. It's like you get the money up front and then it's gone.
Yeah.
So how can guys get people on this continuity program? Like, what is the pitch? I think we've talked about before, leading with that they get a free full detail if they sign up, or what is what would you suggest, or what have you seen work the best as a bait to get people to sign up to this continuity program?
Yeah, well, here's the key. You number one, you're never going to sell it if you don't offer it. So first of all, people got to start offering it.
Got it.
Most of the time they're not.
Okay.
But here's the thing, like being a professional detailer has more to do with presentation than it does deliverables. And I know that's like almost like evil to people. No, it's all about the detail. Now, I'm not saying the detail is not important. It's vitally important. But you got to be thinking about the whole customer experience.
Yes. I would say doing the work is actually the last step in that process.
It is the last. No, it's a very important step. No doubt.
I would say it's the second to last step. The last step would be the follow-up after. But
that's true. But yeah, so I mean, you do have to obviously be able to provide a service that people actually want and are proud to pay for. But one of the things that we've talked about in the Detailer Inner Circle is the initial, like, I'm meeting with a client, for the first time. And instead of just like, okay, great, thanks for your keys. Okay, you want to wash outside, you want to wash inside, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. You need to be like, here's the key, right? We talk about the glasses.
Put them on.
You got to have glasses. But I'm saying you need to have a clipboard.
Yes.
If you're
or an iPad or something.
Something where it looks like, dude, this guy is like taking notes.
Right.
Why? Because the perception is, okay, if this guy is taking notes and he's storing this, there's obviously a professionalism here that I'm not getting from the other detailers because no one else is doing this.
No.
And so the very first thing you got to do is, look, before we get started, let's go ahead and take a look all around the car together. I want to know what you see are problem areas that I need to address, that kind of a thing, right? So you do the whole outside. If you're going to do the inside, okay, let's look inside. You as a professional start bringing up a few things. Okay, I see you got a little bit of wear here on the driver's seat. Doesn't look like the passenger seat gets used that much. Tell me about, whatever. And you start going into this conversation with them about their vehicle, and they're like, wow, no one's ever done this before. And you don't do that every time. Typically, it's like, look, this is our base. We need to establish what our base is. Then you say, okay, thank you very much, sir. You go ahead and do all of your servicing for them. And then when you're done, you don't just like leave the keys and, oh, cool, there's a check right there. You basically say, look, okay, sir, let's go ahead and everything's complete. Let's take a look around the whole car. I want to make sure that I've met your expectations. And you go looking around the whole car. And I would bring up things that you noticed. Hey, sir, I see it looks like down here some of your plastic, whatever, is
faded,
starting to come off or whatever, and you can kind of walk them through all of what you're noticing on their vehicle,
which is good to document anyway, so from a liability standpoint. So there are multiple reasons for this too.
But they're also like, dude, no one's ever done this before, right? So you're treating them differently. Mm-hmm. And then I tell them, hey, you know what? We actually have a couple of packages that I think might make a lot of sense for you. And I would walk them through that. So I would have that kind of like on the back of the intake form. So if you're using just a clipboard, on the back, let me walk you through our different packages. And that's where I'd go through a couple of different options, definitely no more than 3 of your continuity plan. So it would be the good, better, best philosophy. This is a good plan. This is the better plan. This is the best. And the best I would be, a lot more expensive. Because there will be clients who are like, I only want the best.
So would you have like maybe like a $50 a month option, a $125 a month option, and then like a $300 a month option?
Yeah, I would definitely do something like that. Okay. So it could be, 2 maintenance washes a month.
Right.
And then it could be maintenance wash and the wash and wax a month. And, you could even put that, most popular, right?
Right, right.
Most people choose.
Right.
And then you could have the best plan, right? The best plan. And you being the professional would know more about that.
And everyone's going to want, that's another question that comes up all the time is like, well, what should the packages be? And it's like, that has to be a case by case scenario per the detailer,
And also where you live in the country.
And where you live. Right.
In some parts of the country, you need to factor in, I would call it salt removal, right? So look, here's what we do in the summer months and fall,
Exactly.
but we got
100%.
salt removal in these other months, and this is why we continue doing what we do.
Right.
Even when the weather's bad out, we got to
Exactly.
remove the salt, or it's
Great
going to
point.
eat through your metal, all this other, right? So you would kind of formulate those packages so it made a lot of sense for them.
Right.
And that's going to help even out a lot of those dry months where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like here in Southern California, it rains like 3 days, but those 3 days are going to be all in 1 month, and you're going to have a really bad month.
Right. Right.
So
Right. No, I love that.
that stuff in. But yeah, I mean, it really is as simple as your presentation and then walking them through it. And what you could do this. I don't know that you would. It kind of depends on the job that you're doing for them on that one. But you could say, hey, you know what? If you choose this plan right here, then, you know, we'll just go ahead and be back out here in 2 weeks to do a maintenance wash.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even, I mean, you know, it's 110. We'll just start you right there, or whatever it is, 125,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's an arbitrary number. We just use the 110 as a base.
Right, to figure out, you know,
Right. Or an
making
average.
it $1,000 a month.
So
But it's really that simple.
So you
It
got to
really
you got
is.
to offer it. You got to have a presentation, and then what?
Yeah, you have the presentation, and then you go for the offer.
Go for the offer.
Yeah,
So
you just the offer to them.
offer. Taking
See,
notes.
and here's the key, guys. The continuity is so much safer in your business than just doing services. And most people just do a simple car wash, a simple detail, and then they're gone.
Right.
And they do literally no follow-up. Like, we walk people through what we
Right.
call a 5-day cash machine in the inner circle. And how many times have we had guys reach out going, yeah, I just did the text message, and I'm booked up now for the next 2 weeks.
In fact, I would venture to say every time someone actually does it,
They get business. I love
it
business.
almost, it definitely pays for the inner circle for the year right away, and sometimes even 2, 3, 4 times over.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's just kind of like, it's kind of basic business principles that most business owners, and I'm not just talking about details,
Right.
but most business owners don't employ. Think about the reason why most detailers get into detailing. They really like cars. They really like clean cars. They want to do that for a living, and they hate their job.
right.
So that's the reason why they get in. They're
Right.
not business owners by and large by themselves.
Right, 100%.
But that's the way it is in every business. Like, the reason why someone opens up a real estate brokerage is because they were a real estate agent. They really enjoyed it. They hated working for their broker, and they thought, hey, I'll just go ahead and start my own and hire a bunch of agents. But they still don't know the business side of things. So I don't want people to think like, oh, he's bagging on detailers. No, I bag on every business.
Right.
We don't know that stuff. We're usually really good at what we do, and then we think, oh, we can go into business for ourselves. And it takes thinking this stuff through, but having that continuity of income will make your life so much better, because now you don't have to worry about, where am I going to get money to pay my bills this month? It's there.
How am I going to grow? How am I going to do that? What, blah, blah, blah. Because then what we see too is when you're focused on that, you can't even get the work.
Yeah.
Because you're so focused on where's it coming from that you don't. And that's really what we teach in the detailer inner circle, or a big aspect of it. It's so complex that some people ask me like, well, what is the detailer inner circle? And I'm like, it's so robust and getting more robust every month that it's like, I don't even know where to start, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But that's a big principle that we teach, is kind of getting out in front of your business and actually looking at it like a business and not just such a passion play, you know? And that's why we start people off with the 5-day cash machine. It's like, all right, look, in order to be successful, you got to start getting money rolling through the door. So let's get money rolling through the door, and then we could start venturing out into all the other things that we want to teach you and show you and all that. And for people listening too, the content is kind of dripped out in that format for a reason. And I had a call with a guy, Pete, last week, and he's like, "Well, can I get all the modules up front?" And I told him, I'm like, "No, because then you won't take action on any of it, and then it actually looks bad on us."
Yeah. Because, you know, there's so many different reasons for that. But the biggie is, it's like, look, this isn't just to teach you a bunch of crap. This is so you will go out and do it.
Right.
So it's like, okay, you got this, now go do it.
Right.
Now come back. What I love is people always go, oh, give me another idea. How can I get more clients? I'm like, you haven't even acted on the last idea I gave you. Why do you need another one? Just go do what I told you, then come back to me, and then we'll go give you another one, and another one, and another one. And there's a lot of stuff that people gotta like think through and start implementing. Like the 5-day cash machine to me is like, if literally all someone ever did was take the 5-day cash machine, they didn't even do the continuity crap, right? They just did the 5-day cash machine. You would never run out of business if you just did that thing right there, because it's everything from reaching out to your current clients, reaching out to your past clients, reaching out to people who've reached out to you via the internet, things like that, joint venture partners, and going after the cold market. I mean, like, by the way, guys, I share that with so many business owners. Everyone wants to go after the cold market. How do I find someone who needs to have my car detailed? That's great. We'll look at that.
Right.
But let's not forget about your current clients. Why would you go after a current client? Because they usually like clean cars. Go after them for the continuity program. Mm-hmm. How about past clients? These are clients who you haven't seen in a long time. Let's reach out to them. We give you, by the way, whole systems for how to reach out to these.
Right. We don't, and that's another thing too. Sorry to cut you off, Pete, but we don't just give you theories and things. We actually like give you everything.
Yeah.
Like not just, oh, do this. It's like, do this and here's the form. Do this and here's the script. Down to we have our own text messaging platform that you get.
Here's the coolest thing about the text messaging platform, guys. So we give you scripts and we say, okay, this is what you want to text to these people. These are current clients. This is what you want to text to past clients. This is what you want to text to prospects. These are people who maybe reached out to you on the internet, didn't use you, whatever. Mm-hmm. We give you the actual words to text. Then what we also do is we do the next step, and I'm not going to go into all the details.
Right. But don't give the whole.
We do what's called a slide broadcast or a slide dial, which you've talked about before. It's changed your life, right?
Dude, I will slide dial someone back and tell them to text me. And it works.
That's so funny. Like, I don't even want to talk to you, so I'm going to slide dial you and tell you to text me back. That's really funny, actually.
Dude, I just did it today, and it worked because, and sorry to take us off on a tangent, but it's because you want a quote, so you call me for a quote. If I call you back and try to give you a quote, I haven't even seen your car. I don't know what to quote you. So I call them back through slide dial because I know I don't want to have that 5 or 10 minute exchange about, because it's like, well, I need to see your car. Well, and then they go into the story about telling me about their car, which doesn't tell me anything because everyone's perception of clean or dirty is totally different. So I just need to see the car. So that's why I just slide dial them, tell them to send me pictures of their car. And if they don't, no sweat off my back.
Right, go on to the next.
They go on to the next. I go on to the next. If you don't want to put that little amount of effort into it, you're not my client anyway. But if you do, it worked. I just today lined up a detail. The guy called me.
Here's the thing too: if someone texts you back the pictures, they are way more serious of a buyer.
100%, which is why I do it.
Yeah, you're only dealing with the serious buyers.
I'm only dealing with, and I'm not wasting my time on people that aren't.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when we did the Detailer Marketing Boot Camp, which we're going to do again real quick.
Yep.
I remember in our video when we were selling the event, I was like, look, people who drive a 1995 Ford Escort are not your ideal client, right? That ship has sailed. Yep. They're like, I'm still driving around a 1995 Ford Escort. Look, it's gone, right? They're not. But that's the lie that everyone's told. Everyone's told, hey, anybody with a car or motorcycle or boat, that's your client. Baloney.
Right.
Totally not true.
Right.
So people who take that, and I love that system, by the way, because for me, it's like I love anything that's automated.
Right.
And don't have to actually talk to people.
I don't want to talk to people, and I figure they don't really want to talk to me, to be honest. They just need something done.
Yeah. They want a service.
They want a service.
Yeah. So that's brilliant. So yeah, we've got a part of our texting platform. It's called SMS Conversations. I had literally built out specifically for me and for my clients. And then we were like, hey, let's give this to the Inner Circle guys. It does the texting and it does what's called Slide Broadcast, which is a version of Slide Dial, except that you can hit all of your database at once with it. And I mean, it's just cool, right? Because
because guys that follow the podcast too know that I love efficiency. So it's like if you could text 25 people all at once instead of 25 people individually, that's going to save a lot of time.
This, like, let's say you're in a state where it's snowing and you're like, look, I know I'm dead come November or December, but you're like, hey, look, there's salt removal I could be doing. There's all this other services I could be doing. You have a spot where you could detail. If you could slide dial your database and go, hey, look, I've got time on Thursday. Someone fell out of my schedule. Here's the services that I can provide. I've only got 3 spots open. Let me know if you'd like one of them, and I'll reserve it for you. Text me back using your line, right?
Text me back. Don't even call me.
And I'll let you, take that spot, whatever. I mean, boom, you could be filling your schedule all the times you've got anything slow going on. You could fill it. And what does it take you? It takes you literally recording a message and send.
Right. Yeah.
And just blasting it out to everyone.
I love it, Pete. Sign me up.
There you go.
Pete, I also have a continuity program if you're interested for your car.
I am. Jeez Louise, man. I've been telling you that forever. No. So the other thing, too, is the website that we give everyone.
Right. Good point.
Like, here's the funny thing, man. People they're obsessed with the wrong things. Like, we've had people who are, like, obsessed with search engine optimization. I'm not saying search engine optimization isn't a good thing. I think it's fine. But the reality is I don't really care if I rank high in the search engines. I care if I'm generating leads, and I care if I'm generating the right kind of leads.
Right.
And so we built out a whole website that's designed for lead generation. I mean, that's what it's designed for. It's not a blogging website. It's not any of that. But the cool thing is you can run ads to it. You can do Google AdWords to it.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, which is how you get a lot of the business. And even though I literally have written books on Facebook, and I've had people in the detailer inner circle go, I've only got this amount of budget. Should I be running Facebook ads? I'm like, dude, run a Google AdWord.
It's insane.
In the detailer business, that
works.
is the best way to do it. If you're like, I got to get a client right now and I got no database, I'm just getting started. Boom, do that.
It's insane.
Yes. So, I mean, the website, the funniest thing about the website, though, was like, you were like, oh, these are leads? Oh, I should have been following these people.
Well,
you had like 45 leads, and you're like, oops, I guess I didn't know that was a lead.
Yeah, and in fact, I don't even, now it's gotten to the point where I get the leads, but because I think some detailers are checking out the site and checking out, I mean, and we didn't even get into the guides. We didn't even get into the guides on that. But I think a lot of detailers look at my website because they want to see what it's like, and then they fill that form out and stuff like that. So I don't even follow up on a lead anymore unless they have a description of what they want, and then I text them or slide dial them.
Because I'd be willing to bet, like, I know the thought process that goes through most people's minds. Some people, like, it was funny when we were doing the websites, or when we still do the websites for everybody. Right. Some people are like stuck in 1995. Like, they barely got a website at all. Some people have these gorgeous websites, but they're not generating any leads. I'm like, look, you either use ours or just do what we tell you to do on yours. If you're like, hey, look, no, I love my website. I spent $5,000 building it out.
Right.
Fine, but just do the steps that I tell you to do, so that way it'll actually generate leads for you. We got them both, but yeah, I think it's funny that a lot of people are like, I don't believe it's going to work. Really? It only happens to work. I mean,
right.
I don't care what your belief is. It happens to actually work,
right,
and generate leads.
And that's what's nice is that, look, and I've told people this before, like, we're in it for the long haul, right? I'm not in this trying to make a quick buck. I'm actually in this to try to help detailers elevate their business to the next level. Which is the
difference between the two of us. I'm in it for a quick buck.
Which is true, but I'm not. And I wouldn't partner with anyone who, well, damn it, that ruins that argument.
I'm kidding, guys.
Right. No, but, You made me lose my train of thought. But
Sorry.
but that's why we have it as a monthly subscription, right? One, we're doing our own continuity program, so we're actually doing what we're teaching, right? Which is part of it. But two, it's like if we suck and we're not fulfilling our end of the bargain, you cancel and you leave. You're not locked in to anything, you know? So if people want to get a hold of you, Pete, you don't offer coaching or anything like that outside of
people want to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me through the Detailer Inner Circle. So you got to join the Detailer Inner Circle. And then guys they Vox me all the time.
Right.
That's cool. Vox me, but you got to be in the Detailer Inner Circle I'm not.
So how can people, two things, how can people join the Detailer Inner Circle? And then if they're listening to this in the future, how can they get the Detailer Marketing Bootcamp, the new one that we're going to do? How can they see that?
So, head on over to detailerinnercircle.com, and I think we got the webinar there. It's been a while since I've been over there to that site.
It's just a webinar.
Yeah, so watch the webinar, see everything that's in it. Join the Detailer Inner Circle. We do give you a whole bunch of free stuff when you join. So like a lot of our training stuff is free. It's what we call our blatant bribe. We're trying to get you to join, so we're going to give you some free stuff for joining. If it offends you that it's that there's a catch, and the catch is you have to join, then don't go
tell you that.
I don't really care. I mean, if it offends you, it's like, whatever, dude, don't take my stuff then.
Right.
But as far as the Detailer Marketing Bootcamp, you and I actually, after we get off this podcast, we got to pick the date and the time that we're going to do it, and then we'll just set up a website, and you guys can all register and come through the Detailer Marketing Bootcamp 2008 version. I'm sorry, 2018. Wait. That was like that was my Ford. It's a little bit old.
Not the 2008 version.
Not the 2008, 2018. That was the number I was looking for.
Don't we all wish we were about 10 years younger? Anyway, maybe you, not me. I feel in my prime. Anyway, Pete, thanks.
How old are you, little punk?
29.
Are you serious?
I'll be 30 in August. Yep.
Dude, all I can say is I cannot wait for you to be 40.
I'm gonna be completely blind by 40 for sure.
Oh, yeah, dude. If you're 29 and you already can't see,
still got hair though, bro. Look at that.
Dude, 42 still got hair,
and it's not even gray. You're still going red.
I used to have a red goatee.
Oh, I got a little gray coming in right on my chin too.
I gotta shave this whole thing off because I look too old now. Now it's like,
well, it fits your pastor role. You got a pastor. You got a pastor goatee.
I'm not a pastor.
I know, but
you
got a pastor goatee going. You should shave.
And I'm definitely shaving it off. People are going to get the wrong impression.
All right,
they're going to be like, "Oh, wow, you were definitely not a pastor."
You were definitely not a pastor after you just said that. I won't tell them that. We weren't recording that, Pete. That part.
Aye.